You already read people. You just haven't learned to trust the signals yet. Every face is a map, every pause a breadcrumb, and Nietzsche's 18 psychological truths are your compass. We'll unpack them in 3 short chapters that build on each other. Miss one, and the picture blurs. Stay, and by the end, you'll see through strangers and yourself with almost frightening clarity. The mask. From childhood. We're taught to believe words, but Nietzsche warned, language is camouflage. People speak from ego, fear, and habit, not from naked truth. That polished smile or booming laugh, armor. The friend who's too nice may be terrified of rejection. The rock of the group might be cracking inside. And the wildest part? Most of us don't notice we're acting. Every profound spirit needs a mask, Nietzsche wrote. Your job isn't to rip it off, it's to notice the cracks. Truth number 1. Tension. Exposes the real masks, slip when life presses on the edges. Watch what makes someone fidget, ramble, or change the subject. Discomfort is the doorway. Step through, and you meet the real person. Truth number 2. Projection is confession. We attack in others what we can't face in ourselves. The guy who trashes arrogant people is wrestling his own ego. The colleague obsessed with liars may be hiding a secret. Track the criticism back to its source, and you find the wound. Truth number 3. Silence speaks louder than speech. Long pauses, canned answers, topic detours. Each non-response is a neon sign pointing to a fear. Words can lie, hesitation can't. Truth number 4. Loud virtue often masks vanity. When morality becomes a megaphone, endless preaching, public purity, Nietzsche calls it the will to power in disguise. Genuine goodness doesn't need a spotlight. Truth number 5. Self-deception comes first. I'm fine. I'm over it. I don't care. These aren't tactical lies aimed at you. They're stories rehearsed until believed. Spot the inconsistencies and you'll glimpse the truth they've hidden even from themselves. Truth number 6. Superiority hides inferiority. Boasting, one-upping, casual put-downs, classic overcompensation. Real confidence doesn't advertise. Behind the throne usually sits a frightened child with a cardboard crown. Reading people isn't judgment. It's compassion with X-ray vision. The chronic interrupter may fear being forgotten. The perpetual happy posts might be silent pleas for help. See the child behind the critic, and hate evaporates. That's Nietzsche's secret. Understand the mask so you can truly connect. Now we go deeper, to the places where that mask starts to fall apart. Nietzsche didn't believe identity was fixed. He believed the self was stitched together from fear, survival, and performance. And when the illusion of control slips, that's when truth spills out. Truth number 7. Fear drives more than desire. Why does someone over-explain? Why do they dominate conversations or vanish completely? Why agree to things they clearly don't want? It's not because they want to. It's because they're scared. Fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough, fear of humiliation. People rarely act from pure will. They act from the fear of what they might lose. So, when you want to understand someone, ask, what are they afraid of losing? The answer is never what they say out loud. Truth number 8. Criticism reflects rejection of the self. If someone constantly critiques others, it's not about the other. It's about what they can't accept in themselves. A man who mocks emotional people is likely terrified of his own feelings. A woman who belittles others' appearances may secretly hate her own reflection. Every criticism is a mirror turned outward. Look closely, and you'll see what they're fighting within. Truth number 9. False confidence hides guilt. The ones who seem the most in control, the most put together, are often holding something back. Over-preparedness, over-performance, perfectionism. These don't come from peace. Nietzsche saw this clearly. Certainty is often fear wearing a cape. When someone is always fine, always strong, ask what guilt they're covering. Maybe it's a regret. Maybe it's shame. But real peace doesn't perform. It rests. Truth number 10. Exaggeration reveals insecurity. I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm always happy. Nothing bothers me. The louder the claim, the deeper the doubt. Nietzsche taught that extreme statements usually mean someone's compensating. They're not trying to convince you. They're trying to silence a voice inside them that's screaming the opposite. Exaggeration isn't confidence. It's panic in disguise. Truth number 11. Control hides inner chaos. Watch the person who can't delegate, who micromanages, who obsesses over schedules and structure. That's not strength, it's survival. When the inner world feels like a storm, people try to control everything outside. It's not about being right, it's about not falling apart. Control is the outer symptom. Chaos is the root. Truth number 12. Performance reveals emptiness. The louder the performance, the quieter the soul. Think about social media, the filters, the posing, the endless noise. Nietzsche didn't see that as expression. He saw it as desperation. A person who truly knows who they are doesn't need to perform. They don't need the applause. They're already whole. So, when someone's identity looks curated, loud, and constant, it's not a display of strength. It's a silent scream for worth. By now, the shift has probably started inside you. You walk into a room and you notice the patterns behind the behavior. The guy who can't stop talking, he's terrified of being invisible. The woman who can't stop posting positive vibes only, she might be hurting more than she's letting on. You're not mind reading, you're mask reading, and this is a turning point. Because once you start to see people like this, something else happens too. You stop reacting, and you start offering grace. When you see fear behind control, a wound behind sarcasm, or guilt behind arrogance, you don't get pulled into it. You understand it. That's your real power. We exposed the mask, then watched it begin to crack. But now, we go where most never do. Past the behavior, past the defenses, all the way to the root, where wounds are formed and personalities are born. Because behind every action is a belief, and behind every belief is pain. Nietzsche didn't just show us how people hide, he showed us why. Truth number 13. People don't speak from logic, they speak from pain. You've heard someone say, love is a lie, or success is for the lucky. And maybe you thought they were just cynical. But Nietzsche would tell you they're speaking from scars, not reason. Beneath every cold opinion is a past that made it necessary. People use logic to protect themselves from the chaos of emotion. They wrap their pain in arguments. So, when someone says something that sounds bitter, don't just hear the words. Ask what broke them. Truth number 14. How they treat weakness shows their true power. If you really want to read someone, don't watch how they treat someone powerful. Watch how they treat someone vulnerable. The one who mocks failure likely wasn't allowed to fail themselves. The one who lashes out at sadness may be terrified of their own grief. Nietzsche believed real strength doesn't dominate, it restrains. Anyone can crush. But those who choose to understand, to hold space, to forgive, that's strength born from healing, not ego. Truth number 15. When someone fears being forgotten, they perform. Ever met someone who needs to be noticed constantly? Their outfits, their stories, their presence screams, "Look at me." It looks like confidence, but Nietzsche saw the deeper layer, fear of erasure. The child who felt unseen becomes the adult who performs to matter. It's not arrogance, it's survival. They're not chasing attention, they're trying to prove they exist. And when you understand that, you stop resenting the performance. You start seeing the loneliness beneath it. Truth number 16. We attack what we envy. One of Nietzsche's boldest truths, people don't always attack what they hate. They often attack what they wish they could be. When someone tears down confidence, mocks success, gossips about freedom, they're revealing what they secretly desire but feel they can never have. Envy is desire suffocated by shame. It's the soul whispering, "I want that too, but I don't believe I deserve it." Recognize it, and hate loses power. Admit it in yourself, and envy becomes inspiration. Truth number 17. People don't act from beliefs, they act from childhood. People don't change, they say, but Nietzsche would correct them. People repeat. They reenact the same roles, the same emotional scripts they learned early on. A person who was ignored grows up to dominate every room. Someone who was punished for emotions grows cold and analytical. A child who had to earn love grows into someone who performs for acceptance, even if it destroys them. Behavior isn't random, it's biography. So, when you want to understand someone, don't just look at who they are. Ask who they had to be to survive. Truth number 18. Patterns are confessions. This final truth changes everything. People won't always tell you what hurt them, but they'll show you, again and again. In the way they ghost when things get real, in how they overwork to avoid silence, in how they flirt but never commit. These aren't quirks, they're confessions. They're saying, this is how I protect myself. This is what I'm afraid of. This is what I can't face again. Nietzsche taught that patterns are louder than words. If you watch closely, people show you exactly where they were broken and what they need to feel safe. And once you learn to listen to those patterns, not with judgment but with understanding, you become dangerous in the best way. Not because you manipulate, but because you see. You see people clearly and still choose grace. You become a mirror, a space where others can stop performing. That's power, that's connection, that's awakening. But before we end, pause for a moment and turn this inward. Every one of these 18 truths wasn't just about others. It was about you, the tension you feel, the traits you criticize, the habits you can't explain, the overconfidence, the silence, the patterns you repeat. They're all clues about your own wounds, your own defenses, your own story. You don't just read people now, you remember who you are beneath the noise. This isn't the end. This is the beginning of a new way of seeing, a new way of being. Nietzsche didn't want you to observe others like specimens. He wanted you to wake up, to see that everything you hate in others is something you carry, that everything you admire is something you're allowed to become. If this resonated, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment. Which truth hit you the hardest? Let's build something rare in a world drowning in noise, honesty. And if this helped you understand others or yourself, subscribe. This isn't just philosophy. It's your blueprint for becoming fully, painfully, beautifully real.